Okay. Oh, it's all on me. So I'm just going to be talking away. Is that it? Yeah, you don't do anything. Well, what a good job you have. How do I get that good job? Hi, I'm Nathan Lane, and this is The Late Show's Throwback Backstories, Broadway edition. In honor of my new show, Pictures from Home, being my 25th starring role on Broadway, let's take a stroll down memory lane with throwbacks from my Broadway career. Shall we? This is me and the glorious Tony Award-winning Faith Prince in the 1992 revival of Guys and Dolls, directed by Jerry Zaks and co-starring Peter Gallagher and J.K. Simmons. Oscar winner J.K. Simmons played Benny Southstreet. One of two shows we did together. This was a big deal at the time. It was a big hit. It became a big hit. But during previews, we were all asked to go to sit in the house, and Jerry came out and he said, you know, there were some walkouts at intermission, and he said, I just don't think you're trying hard enough. And I was like, Jerry, if I try any harder, I'll cause internal bleeding. I said, I think we're gonna have to relax a bit. It was a very bold production, and it was a sets that you had to really live up to. You couldn't just walk on and do the independent film version of Guys and Dolls on those sets. You had to also be bold in your choices. And finally, it all sort of came together by the opening. And I remember that the publicist for the show was standing outside and showed us the front of the New York Times, and there was a picture of myself and Faith, and it said, Nathan and Miss Adelaide returned to Broadway. And it was the first time the New York Times had a theatrical show on the front page. That's what I remember. This is a beautiful play called Love, Valour, Compassion, written by my dear great friend, the late Terrence McNally, brilliant writer, and an early champion of mine and a mentor. And I do remember Terrence wrote a scene at the last minute, which was so beautiful, and it felt like it always was in the play, but it kind of summed up everything, in which my character, who has AIDS, he says, promise me you'll be there for me when I'm dying. I want you to promise me that. And it's an extraordinary scene that he wrote really just before we went into the theater. I'll never forget it. And it's just beautiful. Anyway, it was a great ensemble of actors. I do remember there was a lot of full frontal nudity. Not me. I didn't want to put people through that. They wanted you to sign a nudity clause in the beginning. This was directed by Joe Mantello. It was his kind of breakthrough, brilliant director. And I said, I'm not signing a nudity clause. There was a scene that Terrence had written where my character was supposed to come on stark naked serving drinks. And I said to Terrence, I'm not doing that. First of all, it's just not funny. And I said, maybe. This character I was playing was a costume designer. Here's what's funny. If I come on in high heels, sweat socks, an apron, and a big picture hat and sunglasses serving drinks, but underneath the apron, I'm naked. That's funny. So we did this. It may be the longest laugh I've ever gotten. So I came on and they laughed. But then as I went around across the stage and they saw my ass, the laugh went on so long, and Stephen Spinella, a very, very brilliant and serious actor, kept trying to cut the laugh off, but I would turn around and stick my ass in his face and the laugh would go back up again. Anyway, Love, Valour, Compassion, beautiful play, won the Tony. Look how young we all look, even Mel. This is legendary comedy writer, just all-around genius Mel Brooks, the great Susan Stroman, and me and my pal Matthew Broderick in rehearsal for the producers. I can't, that would be an hour. It went really well. People seemed to like it. Look how handsome Matthew looks. Matthew and I had provided voices in The Lion King, but we didn't really know each other and we sort of became friends on this show. And that was a big part of that relationship, because that's at the heart of the show, which is about these two guys. This one guy who's this nerdy accountant who has no friends, being taken under the corrupt wing of this producer, Max Bialystock, and they become friends. And they have friends, both of them find a friendship a true friendship for the first time. And that's what's at the heart of the show. It's about that. And so that really infused the onstage relationship as well. You know, everybody should be so lucky to have one of these in their lives. We'll be here all night and sing them all. This is my friend Matthew Broderick and I in a production of The Odd Couple. We both had a relationship with Neil Simon when he got his Kennedy Center honor. I performed, myself, Christine Baranski, and Sid Caesar performed for him, and we did excerpts from his plays, but Sid would do the foreign gibberish. You had to be there, but he killed. And then I did a speech from The Odd Couple, a famous speech, you leave me little notes in my pillow. You know, I've told you 100 times, I can't stand little notes in my pillow. We're all out of cornflakes. F you. It took me 3 hours to figure out that F you was Felix Unger. Maybe the longest laugh in stage history. Walter Matthau used to say, I could go out for coffee and come back, and they're still laughing. And then Neil, a few years, talk about a delayed response, a few years later wrote me and said, ever since you did that, I've been thinking I want to see you do the whole thing. And I've been holding on to the rights so you could do it. I was like, all you had to do was ask. I didn't know any of this. Anyway, it was very sweet. I still have that letter. So that's The Odd Couple. This is like theater history for the people who care. Most people don't. Oh, this is my old pal, Andrew Garfield, the great, great Andrew Garfield. Adorable. And we're obviously laughing during a curtain call for Angels in America because, you know, when we did both plays, that's 7.5 hours. So we're delirious at this point. And I got to play Roy Cohn, which is one of the greatest parts ever written. It was fun. It's fun to be Roy Cohn. He was the devil incarnate. He was a horrible person, but Tony Kushner's version, you really want to play that part. The only sad thing was that I didn't have a lot of scenes with Andrew. We had one scene together. I played one of his ancestors, this foppish ancestor who appears to him, and I would try to make him laugh. He's just a brilliant actor, and he's the nicest guy, and arguably the most eloquent actor in the world. He's unbelievable. He's like Oprah. He starts talking about something, and you're weeping. And you say, well, I'll write you a check, whatever you want. He's such a great person. We love him. And now there are no more cards. I'm exhausted. I'm Nathan Lane, and this has been Throwback Backstories, Broadway edition.